I want you to draw a pie. I'll stick it up here. Well, firstly, there are three types of income. One, active income. So what is active income? What do you sell to get what? You sell something to get something. What do you sell? Time to get money. Awesome. Then you have the opposite, passive income. What do you sell to get what? What do you sell with passive income? What do you rent? You rent your money to make money. So you sell time to make money, that's active income. You sell money to make money, that's passive income. Your money goes and does it on its own. And then there's what I call entrepreneurial income, where you sell your knowledge and experience, and typically a bit of money, to get a return. So that's where you own a business. So active, entrepreneurial, and passive. I would like, first up, for you to write down, as we build this pie chart up, I want you to write down your current passive income, your current passive annual income. Think about it, you might have a little bit of interest in a share portfolio, you might have some dividends from something. But this is predictable, by the way. This is not speculative. I reckon if I did this today, I'd get that. This is every week, every day, the money appears in your bank account, every month. Write down your current passive income. That was quick. Did nobody have to calculate? Okay. Who's a little bit short of what they need if they were to stop work today? Okay. Right. So passive income, in my mind, is predictable and repetitive. So that's it. Every year, it comes in. It's not speculative within, interest rates and bits and pieces. But that only forms one part of the pie. I'm not even going to segment it because you need to work out, A, what you are currently. So draw a pie, like we'll call it a nest egg pie. Sorry. Draw the one that you've got now. Now the pie itself, the size of the pie, defines your total income. For some, it'll be the size of a family pizza. For the others, maybe an Oreo cookie. But your pie expands and shrinks based on your total income. To you as a family, I'm not talking about revenue as a business now. We're talking about the business Brad spoke about, the investment business. So of your pie, have a think about, okay, how much is passive, how much is active, how much is entrepreneurial? For some of you, this is going to be easy because it's there. There you go. It's just the one type, and that one type is active. You're selling time for money. Is that something to be ashamed of? No. Is your hourly rate beyond your wildest dreams? Does anyone know anybody that actually gets more of an hourly rate as a professional than you do? Nobody. So when you get home with your partners or yourself or somewhere quiet, you then want to put up, okay, that's my pie. So let's say we've got a little bit of entrepreneurial income. So who pays themselves a wage or a salary out of their action business? Who does not? Hands up who does not. There's a lot of hands that didn't go anywhere. Start it now. Otherwise, you only ever take what's left. If you can separate your personal life and your investment life from your action life, you will be much happier. I know I used to blur it, we'd be under pressure and, I'd rob out of the tax account that I'd put aside, or you pay Peter to rob Paul, or what did Brad say this morning? I think that's hysterical. Oh yes, I reinvested in my company. That means you optimistically pulled out a bunch of cash, worked out you couldn't afford it and had to put it back. Doesn't it really? So, if it's looking like this, like it does on the screen, so let's say that's entrepreneurial and this is active. The entrepreneurial is where, active, you've paid yourself a wage. You set yourself your salary and you pay it. So what is the entrepreneurial income then if it's from your action business? The dividends that you pay yourself at the end of the month, year or whatever, quarter, whatever it might be. So the firm owners and guys in the room that are building the business, well, great. You want, probably in the model, what you want your piece to do is for this not to necessarily increase as a proportion of the pie. What do you want to get happen? You want the pie itself to get bigger. Personally, trying to give up your personal exertion, money for time, and replace it with a passive income from a couple of guys that are trying to work and build the machine. You're going to have to supplement your business profits with your own personal exertion. Great, that would just be my suggestion. So you want to work out, okay, what does my pie want to look like? My pie wants, oh, that went, anyway. You want your pie to expand, and you want to go, okay, so in 20 years or whatever it might be, I want to, over time, the slices of my pie to have changed their dynamic. I want more passive, maybe some entrepreneurial, if that's your thing. Highly productive personal exertion, smashing it in as condensed a time as possible, works for me. As Rosie observed, I don't go to work particularly early on Mondays. I'm finished by lunchtime Tuesdays. Don't work, sorry, that would be nice. That's a couple of years away. Thursday lunch, I'm normally done, unless there's a little bit of overflow, and I'm talking an hour, not 16 hours. I don't work Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, nights, basically 2.5 to 3 days a week. Coaching clients. I make okay money. So, here's our exercise. We've done this because this was your life, wasn't it? 82 years, average. So for the first 4, you're basically an infant. You're getting programmed with your head trash. Nice. That you spend the rest of your life trying to overcome. The next 16 years or so, are taken up with going to school, going to university until you're about 20 odd. You're not earning a lot of money. The green slices there, another sort of 14, 15 years, you are working your way up the ladder. You don't start at 200 grand a year, you start at 20. And you're sweeping the floor and you're doing that sort of stuff. So it takes time to gather some momentum, overcome your inertia in the working force, gather momentum, and then ta-da, at about, let's face it, 35, you reach your peak financial earning performance type area. So now I'm going to jump ahead to retirement. Theoretically, 65. Who wants to retire at 65? Wow, okay. Who wants to retire less than 65? For who is it going to be practical in any way, shape or form unless you get off your ass? 1. Excellent. There's the BFS for you. So you've got this tiny little slice in the middle, 20 or 21 years, to fund the next 30, even if you're only planning on living to that average, and who wants that? So that means for every year that you're in your peak, or a little bit before, that's fine, you need to earn double the money you are now. You need to earn, A, enough money to survive and thrive, bring up the kids, live life and do that sort of thing. Plus, you've got to fund 1 year of your retirement. Pick one. Anyone you like. You're doing chronological. It's like, no, this year I'm going to fund 73. Wouldn't that be a fun exercise? Oh, sorry, I don't get to 73. I have to skip over and go to 74. Next year's going to be good. So I want you to take a couple of minutes and just do that quick exercise. You might also like to place an X where you are now. Now I want to clarify, retirement. Retirement is options. Retirement is not being exiled to a pink and wrinkly village via the local barber for a blue rinse. It's about being able to go, you know what, I don't feel like working this year. And it doesn't impact on your lifestyle. Your cash, your income, passive income, think of it as two things. If it's cash, it's like cut flowers in a vase. You want your assets to be like a plant. You water a little bit and it keeps growing. If it's cash, it will die. It doesn't matter. You cut flowers, no matter how fancy they're looking, they will die. Your money will be depleted unless your cash starts to make cash. So, anybody that hasn't finished your 81, give it a quick go. And when you're doing it, try not to make excuses for yourself. Oh, but I love my work. I can't see myself ever retiring. Be mindful, though, please, of what the cash costs, I suppose. Don't get swept up in having a Barclays bank account in British Virgin Islands because it's a tax haven if there's only $600 in it. If you're going to go invisible banking, you need to have taken the briefcase with $500,000 in it to make your first personal deposit. Again, Brad was talking about this, keeping up the facade. Keeping up appearances, keeping up with the Joneses. Now, it's cool. I love what we do. I remember when we had our properties managed. But this guy rang, he wasn't very good at what he did. So he's ringing, oh, Mr. Leach, we've got a problem at, 26, whatever number it was, 26 Newman Road, the hot water system's dead. It's like, idiot, because he made a couple of mistakes in the past. We don't have a Newman Road. You've rung the wrong landlord. Oh, look, I'm terribly sorry, hung up. 3 or 4 minutes later, he's rung back, Mr. Leach, you do have a Newman Road, and it's number 56. Now, it's like, oh, do we? Okay, my bad, sorry. I know. I've got some photos for you. There's a couple of properties I don't have photos for because I ain't ever seen them. So, being able to go, great, you rent money from the bank. So the more of your own money you can use, guess what? You don't need to pay rent on it. Think of that. Think as money from the bank as rented. What are your guys in Canada and the US at the moment? What's your interest rate on borrowing money? 2.5, 5-ish? 4, 5. Okay, so comparable to ours probably. So you want to know the first investment you need to do? Hands up who's got a credit card with a balance on it. Because I'll give you an investment that'll make you a 21% return on investment. It's not just what you get, it's the opportunity cost of what you don't have to spend to do what you're doing. That's the first investment. But I know people, my sister-in-law was one of them, well, I forget the number, but let's call it 5, 10 grand on a credit card and had 5, 10 grand in the bank. It's like, no, pay off the credit card. Well, then I wouldn't have a buffer. Intellectually, emotionally it makes sense, doesn't it? But when you say it like that, intellectually it doesn't. How much cash buffer have you got sitting around squirreled away when you could be paying off, throwing it into your home or whatever it might be? So we get houses. I'll show you some typical projects and some different stuff that we've done. We tend to hold the properties, tend to hold on to them. If it makes sense to sell, we do. Sometimes it's a bonus deal and it's like, hey, flick it. Other times, keep it. And if you've got more than one, guess what? You've got some options. If you've only got the one, it gets a bit tricky. So here's some stats, and they are quite similar for North America. Not the population, but the ratios. In Australia, we've got 23 million people. Anyone like to guess how many adults have property? Below 20. No, not quite, more than one. 10%, basically. 1.4 million of us own property. That's in inverted commas. It's the same for you in the US. 400,000 people of that, this is not cumulative, this is parts of. So of those 1.4 million property owners, 400,000 have ever owned two. 40,000 out of 17 million have ever owned 4 properties. 16,000 have ever gone as far as 5. And 15,200 out of 17 million own 6 or more. So that includes, your mega entrepreneur, that's all of them. So that's 0.09% of the population. We live in a suburb of 10,000 people. There are 7 of us statistically out of those 10,000 that have more than 6 properties. Now, it's bizarre because guess where you start making money? Well, at least up there. 5, probably. Most people, though, I think the 1.4 million have what I call a trophy investment property. Oh, I'm a property investor. I got 1. That makes me an investor. So I have it for appearance's sake. May well be still negative geared, or it might be a property of convenience where you had it and you moved out and bought another one, couldn't get rid of it, kept it, whatever it might be. But most only have 1. Who is planning on having a large chunk of their retirement funded by investment or income from property? Just show your hands in the room. Okay, so what are the rest of you planning? Oh, and I'm just interested, it's not a rhetorical question. Those that didn't have your hands up. So hands up property people that are going, yep, that's great and passive. Okay, so there's it. Ted.
Yes, sir.
What's your passive income plans?
Businesses.
Businesses, okay, fantastic. So you're going the entrepreneurial income.
Yep.
Very cool. Who else is entrepreneurial income? A few more? Still not a lot? Who's just going to work till you die? Oh, who's going the inheritance? Nice, good. Thought you would be, Kurt. At the end of that, you know what the 2 top strategies in the US for financial independence are? Number 1 is sue someone. Number 2 is lottery. I kid you not. They are the fantasies. So it's just that is the behaviour. So let's look at the rest of the iceberg, because that's really what this is about, isn't it? Brad's talked about what are the constraints to investing. What's stopping you?